Ruth was ready to really enjoy that joke, Norman. She started to giggle beside me. She's going to enjoy that too much. Thank you, Ruth. No. Have you heard this one? A turtle is crossing the road when he's mugged by two snails. When the police show up, they ask him what happened. And the shaken turtle replies, I don't know, it all happened so fast. Speaking of fast, the older I get, the faster the days go by. And how we spend our days, of course, is how we spend our lives. How we spend our days is how we spend our lives. And in Black Gold, we commit to spending our days inspiring success. Inspiring success in our students, in our colleagues, and in ourselves. And to inspire success, we must treat our students and our colleagues with kindness, patience, and unconditional love. The year I taught fourth grade at École Leduc State School, I think it was 99-2000, after teaching 12 years of junior high English and phys ed, the year was like learning to drink from the fire hose. You elementary teachers know what this is like. Planning lessons daily for math, language arts, social studies, cursive, writing, art, all those subjects. It was really difficult that year for me. But it was art class, and a beautiful, energetic, spirited, freckle-faced boy, Thaddeus Lake, that kept me awake at night. As many of you know, it was back in 2011, I believe, when Thaddeus and his two friends tragically lost their lives in a car accident when they were hit by an impaired driver. And may the good Lord take them in his holy safekeeping. Planning for art class kept me awake at night because my artistic abilities are worse than Brian Scott's two-step skills. True story, back in the early 90s, Jim Toomey, Brian, and I were at a phys ed conference in Grand Prairie, and picture this, there I am, arm in arm with Brian, and I'm trying to teach Brian how to two-step. Brian had the grace of a pump jack on the prairie. If we were graded on today's Black Gold report card, we'd both receive an L for limited. Evidence shows inaccurate understanding, ongoing support is needed. Thaddeus kept me awake at night because when planning for 8 subjects, my lessons were not always top drawer engaging. And when they weren't, Thaddeus let me know it. It was late April, and I was madly searching for a Father's Day project we could do in art class when my good buddy and retired teacher, Daryl Engel, stopped by for a visit. Daryl was a closet inventor, always building and creating something. And I asked him if he would be my guest teacher for a few weeks, and he said he'd love to. As Daryl arrived at my classroom door with a big blue Rubbermaid bin container about the size of a carry-on suitcase, Thaddeus greeted him with a, "Who are you? What are you doing here? What you got in there? Can I see?" I had Thaddeus go sit down. I introduced Daryl to my students, and Daryl took it from there. Daryl enlisted the help of all students, taking items out of the container and guessing what our art project was going to be. It was going to be a decorated, painted, wooden fishing lure with 3 hooks hanging from its underside. No one ever said Daryl was a great finishing carpenter, and his homemade 6-inch lures looked more like wooden tent pegs. Daryl called it the Hunka-Lunka. I thought more like the Hunka-Junka. But Daryl was going to eat up 5 weeks of art class for me, so I kept my thoughts to myself. However, Thaddeus did not. "Mr. Engel," Thaddeus laughed, "are you sure my dad will be able to catch a fish with that?" "Oh, Thaddeus," Daryl mused, "once you have your Hunka-Lunka painted and decorated, your dad will be able to catch a fish right out of the toilet bowl." You know what happened then with those grade 4s. Over the next 5 weeks, Daryl never once lost patience with Thaddeus, as I, at times throughout the year, had. Daryl designated Thaddeus as our quality control inspector, and Thaddeus embraced that role wholeheartedly, helping classmates with pliers, the drill with paint. The year ended, and now it's mid-July, and I'm having a grad sale at my house. Daryl was over chatting when Thaddeus bounced up my driveway with his mom, Karen, trailing behind. "Hey," Thaddeus hollered, "what are you two doing here?" I told Thaddeus that I lived there and that Mr. Engel was over visiting. Thaddeus inspected my items quicker than our locksmith, Jamie Onslow, can say, "Welcome back," or "Welcome back." Then he urged his mom to get going, and I sensed something was up, but didn't know what. Thaddeus bolted out of our driveway with Karen again trailing behind, and about 10 minutes later, Thaddeus came sprinting back up my driveway like a Tasmanian devil yelling, "Mr. Engel, Mr. Engel, Mr. Engel, I got this for you." No, sorry, Mr. Engel. Thaddeus had encouraged his mom to go back to the garage so they were previously at, where he had seen a ball cap with "I'd rather be fishing" written across the top. And he says, "Mr. Engel, I got this for you." And he was just beaming. He gave Daryl this huge squeeze of a hug, and then off he went like a little goat, leaping in the field over the timothy and alfalfa, and above his head, waving signs of friendship to us. "Goodbye, Mr. Engel. Goodbye, Mr. Monty." Daryl inspired success in Thaddeus, and without knowing it, he inspired success in me, because he spent his days in my classroom modeling kindness, patience, and unconditional love. And the greatest of these was unconditional love, because serving others is love. And speaking of love, I would like you to join me in showing some love to our two old buddies, Bill and Norm, on receiving their new positions. I have truly enjoyed working with them the last number of years, and I'm looking forward to working with the two of them for the next number of years. So a little love for them, please. And now it's my pleasure to introduce, well, I won't be introducing, but to call up our lovely new staff. So when I tell you to, if